I just came back from a 2-week European tour with the band Loathe as their guitar tech.
All the way from Liverpool in the United Kingdom. Thank you for being here with us today, man. Make some noise for yourselves.
So this is actually my first time ever on tour, let alone with a band like Loathe. So it was actually an incredibly fun experience for me. It's also lots of new experiences. Pretty much we had a show every single day, aside from just 1 or 2 travel days and things. We had an off day in Cologne as well, in Germany, which was really, really fun. It was a big storm, so we couldn't really go around and explore very much. That's the thing with touring as well. It's a lot of new places that you get to visit, but at the same time you don't get to visit them, for me at least, because I'm doing my job. I'm backstage setting up amps and setting up guitars and just doing everything. You don't really get much chance to explore the city and things, which is fine because I'm there to do a job, so that's what I gotta do. So my initial plan for this video was that I wanted this to be a tour vlog, but just kind of with the hecticness of touring and just kind of needing to do my job, and I didn't have the time or the energy to film as much as I wanted. I'm hoping with this recap video I can just kind of interject some footage that I did manage to get and just kind of put this all together as like kind of one big recap video.
Eric Bickerstaff, everyone.
Unreal. Is that your first voice? It is. Lad, I'm petrified.
So the first thing I want to go over is how the hell did I get this job? How did I, little me studying music at Leeds, get the chance to go on tour with Loathe as their guitar tech across Europe? And I think the answer to this question really shows the extreme importance of making connections when you get to go to a place like music university, and just like building your connections and just allowing those opportunities to come in from all the different connections you've made. So my friend and studio group mate from second year at university, Adam Rogers, he is actually Loathe's front of house guy. But yeah, he's actually friends with everyone in Loathe, like way prior to Loathe even forming, so he's known them for a very long time.
What the fuck is that? The hell's that?
But yeah, one day he just messaged me on Instagram, just like, hey, we've got a tour in a month, we got a 2-week tour across Europe, do you want to be the guitar tech? And I was like, yeah, that'd be sick. And prior to that as well, I had no idea who Loathe were. As much as I listened to prog rock and metal and stuff like that, I don't listen to it very much. I'm just kind of at the very surface level of prog rock, if you could say it like that. I didn't think it would be for a band of a scale that Loathe are, because, I know Adam knows Loathe. The degrees of separation isn't very big, so I didn't expect the band to be that big. And I think that also kind of served to my advantage, not knowing who Loathe were, so I wouldn't be all fanboy like when I was working, like, oh my god, it's Loathe, oh, I can work on the guitars, that kind of thing. So prior to this 2-week tour, we actually had one show, and of all places, that show was at Wembley, like, the Wembley in the UK. That kind of quickly gave me a sense of the scale of the band that I was working with. And Wembley has kind of become the show that we don't talk about, which is kind of unfortunate for me on my end, just purely because it was my first time on the job, and pretty much everything that could go wrong went wrong. So that's kind of why we don't talk about that show. So Eric, the guitarist of Loathe, he is endorsed by Hiwatt, the amp company. So for that show, we had a rep from Hiwatt come down with a lot of heads and cabs, and we basically just built a giant amp wall. And during sound check, luckily we caught this during sound check, one of the amps wasn't working, so we just did a quick switch over and everything was fine, and we just went from there. Did the sound check, everything was basically fine. Come time to do the show, the set starts with Heavy as the Head, which starts with a big blast beat and big wall of guitar type things, and there was no guitar. Me and the rep from Hiwatt, you could see us just quickly trying to swap amps and figure out what the hell's going on. We were swapping amps and cabs and nothing was changing. And then towards the end of the song, Eric goes up to use his pedal board, and then it kind of starts coming back in and out. But that was at the very end of the song, so we had no guitar for a whole song out of a 3-song set. So we had no guitar for a third of the set, which was not fun. But luckily Eric and Faisal the bass player, they were all very understanding about what went wrong, and just kind of, in a sense, it was out of my control. It was out of everyone's control, just because that problem with the pedal board never came up with previous shows and previous sound checks. It just so happened that it happened during the show, which was not good. But yeah, that is kind of why we don't talk about the Wembley show, just because that, among many things, went wrong. That was kind of a good primer, I guess, for me to be prepared and be alert for everything, because then we had the 2 weeks tour in Europe. So prior to the 2-week tour, we had 3 days of pre-production. So me, Adam, and their playback tech, a friend of mine called Creasy, we all went down to Liverpool and just spent 3 days in Liverpool just making sure that we knew what we were doing and fixing up any problems that might have come up. Got one. 61. Well, is that number one? Probably. I had a quick refurb of Eric's pedal board. We added him some new pedals, made sure everything worked, nothing was scratchy or anything like that. So that was fine. And Faisal actually brought down a PJ bass that he had, and he wanted me to get it set up, and he wanted to use it for this tour. And he was a bit reluctant on using it first because it had a white pickguard, or a minty green pickguard, and he really likes his basses to have a gold anodized pickguard, which looks really sick. And the main reason he didn't put one on that bass is just because the controls didn't line up. It was routed for 2 knobs. That bass that he had 4 knobs on it. We just drilled out some extra holes in the pickguard, and then we had to slightly enlarge the cavity. There's a video of this on my Instagram of Faisal taking a drill and just using it as like a makeshift router to enlarge the cavity.
So we're at the custom shop. Couldn't get a pickguard made,
so now it looks really cool. It's a sunburst P bass with a gold pickguard, so it looks really, really sick. But pretty much right after the pre-production, we packed everything in the van, went through the Eurotunnel. This is the way to Amarillo. Every night I've been hugging my pillow. And emerged at France. Arrived in Belgium, and the day after we were playing Grass Pop at Belgium. But yeah, Grass Pop Festival, that was a really, really fun show. Going into this, not knowing anything, I was a bit worried about doing festivals. I know about, there's quick turnaround times. For us, we had a 40-minute changeover. No sound check. For me coming to this brand new, that sounds quite scary, but looking back on it now, a 40-minute changeover is actually a very long time for a changeover. So we managed to get everything done in time with time to spare, which was good. And yeah, it was just a nice fun festival. Then the next day we drove straight to Hellfest.
I'm gonna make the swan explode.
And that was definitely my favorite day. Not particularly because the show went extremely well or anything, just kind of went the same that Grass Pop did. I think that was the first show that the band really felt like they could trust the crew and just let us do our things, and the band can just focus on getting their heads ready for the show. Not only that, the catering at Hellfest was amazing. We had these little pork belly things, barbecue pork bellies, and the fish. Oh, the fish, it was so delicious. And then to top it off, the little cherry on top after all the catering at Hellfest, Marshall had a booth set up at Hellfest. But we got invited to the Marshall booth and we just hung out and just geeked out about amps with Eric. And I got to try the 20-watt version of the JCM 800 with a Gibson Les Paul, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, after that we had a couple of shows in Germany. I don't remember the order, but we had a show in Munich, Frankfurt, Berlin, and Cologne. These were actual shows, not festivals, so we had proper time to load in, set up, sound check everything. So yeah, we had those 4 shows in Germany, and then after that we had one off day in Cologne, so we got to explore Cologne a little bit, which was very cool. Aside from the fact that it started raining really, really hard that day, we couldn't really explore very much outside of the vicinity of the hotel. And then after that, it was just a full day of traveling back to the UK, and the day after that, we played Outbreak Festival in Manchester. and the turnout for that was insane. It was pretty much entirely packed. It was like a big car park area. I don't even know what it's like, a big warehouse, and it was completely filled to the brim. For that show, Eric wanted to bring out his Strat. So he brings out 2 guitars for his show. He has a baritone guitar and then a standard scale guitar. So for a baritone, he's using a Gretsch G5260, I think it's called, G5260. And then he's using a Gretsch double jet or something it's called for the standard scale. And he wasn't particularly happy with the sound, so he wanted to try a Strat. And ultimately, just because we'd never had the time to sit down and properly work out a tone that would work with the Strat, we didn't use it. But he couldn't be bothered bringing it home or something like that, so I have it here. I've got Eric's Strat, and it's tuned A, D, A, D, G, B, which is the tuning for screaming. So I've just been learning that in my own time. But yeah, that's pretty much kind of everything I want to go over about my first time on tour. Overall thoughts and opinions is I do really enjoy it a lot. There was a couple moments during the tour where I definitely missed home a lot. It was kind of a weird time with this tour just because, if you can't tell, I'm in a new place right now. Literally a week before the tour started, me and my girlfriend, we properly moved in together. I just kind of left in the middle of the moving process to go on tour for 2 weeks. And I guess some part of me felt guilty about that, just kind of leaving in the middle of that and then suddenly going on tour. And related to that, also felt a bit strange, just kind of like being away from home and you know, missing home and missing Hannah and things. Every night I was calling Hannah. We were talking every night, at least for half an hour. Just kind of catching up on things. There's a balance there between you know, me going on tour and then when I'm coming back, I get to just relax and just spend time with Hannah. So it got a bit personal there, but I feel like I wanted to talk about that because that was definitely something I was a bit worried about going into this. I think overall I really enjoy being a guitar tech for Loathe, so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's kind of my general overall thoughts and opinions of working with Loathe. Again, they're all really, really sick people to work for. They're all amazing. They're all really nice. But hopefully next time I'll be able to do more of a vloggy style video. I'll be a bit more accustomed to working with them and I can have a bit more time to just vlog things. So look forward to that. I guess that's it for this video. So I'll see you guys next time. Take care, guys. Bye.